Welcome to the Barca Quad Pod episode 3. Obviously, in better circumstances, probably, for the Barcelona fans sitting in the panelists, because after getting beaten by Atletico Madrid and then getting beaten by Girona, obviously, they're not looking too happy at all, I can tell you. And again, I have to do the mediating thing again. I have to be stuck in the middle between every single one of these guys ranting and raving about Barcelona and what's gone wrong with the club. But do you know what, guys? I'll stay completely out of it. I'll make my points as well. Don't worry. But obviously, as per usual, we do have Omar, we do have obviously Eunice, and we have Barca Boy on stream today, live streaming this podcast for the very first time. And if you are new and if you're watching this on replay, make sure you smash a like, comment down below, let us know your thoughts, and also don't forget to subscribe to each and every one of the esteemed panelists on this show as per usual. But let's get into it, people, because we've got 30 minutes today. We've got 30 minutes to talk about what is going wrong with Barcelona. Guys, tell me, because, bro, I'm just like looking at this and going, this is literally going downhill at the moment. Yes, it may be a little blip, but can Barcelona get back to winning ways? That's the main key problem that we have to solve here. Barca Boy, talk to me, first of all, about the Girona game, because, yeah, that was a bit of a crazy upset, and Barcelona looked, everybody said it in my comment section, everybody said it in my match reaction, and probably across yours, Barcelona were atrocious pretty much for the whole 90 minutes. So what's your thoughts and feelings on that Osasuna game? Can Barcelona get back to winning ways?
Yeah, in terms of the Girona match, it was atrocious. The fact that we were atrocious, but yet again still created so many chances, especially in that first half, shows the quality of this team, which should have been 1-0 up going into the break, especially with that penalty that Lamine Yamal did end up missing. I don't think the real issue of this game was, us playing poorly. It's conceding yet again for like the 9th time this season immediately after scoring. We tend to struggle a lot away from home, holding on to leads when we go and be the team that break the deadlock. That for me is the key issue. Not being able to defend, calmly and composedly for at least a 10-minute spell to, remove that momentum from the opponents, to calm the tempo down for Barcelona. That seems to be a super, super key issue for us. And, we were punished in that sense. I think that Girona's goal second, people are going to be mentioning maybe referees in the live chat or wherever it may be. The reality is that Barcelona weren't up to scratch, but we should have walked away with at least a point if the referee had, a competent brain, or at least a brain cell or two on him as well. But things like this will happen when you don't perform well. So you can't, have it both ways. Of course, if you play well and, things don't go your way, that's when you can highlight it. But in a game like this where you were not up to scratch whatsoever, so many defensive holes, midfield press absolutely non-existent, one ball over the top and you're through our back line. It's the same thing what we saw against Atletico Madrid. So there's no real improvements apart from Barca's goal this time actually stood compared to the Atletico Madrid game. So it was poor again, but the players got a few days break now. We have a huge run now of home games. I think our next 7 of our next 7 games, I believe 6 of them are at home. So if we played only 3 home games this 2026, and we played so many away games so far. So hopefully a bit of home form and a home run can get us back onto the right track in winning ways.
That's probably what everyone's hoping for in terms of the home run and a lot of the different fixtures, because if I look at Barcelona's fixtures, yes, they do look easier on paper. But I warned a lot of people about Girona. I've got to be honest. It's a Catalan derby. You cannot take it lightly. It's never going to be a game you can take lightly.
Look at the first game as well. We had to score in the last second during the game.
Exactly that. And it is a mixture of different things. It's a mixture of Hansi Flick not adjusting. It's a mixture of the players not showing any desire at all on the pitch. You can just see it. You watch it, and very limited desire. I've got to be honest. They looked a shamble of what Barcelona have found themselves in terms of their rhythm and the actual momentum they've actually brought through in the last in the last period before the downhill curve that they had just now.
Yeah,
it's definitely down to a mixture of everything combined. It's not one factor. There are many. Eunice, is it a Hansi Flick thing or is it a players thing? Because it seems now the players are just as equally as stubborn and as bad as I can say it right now as a Real Madrid fan. Weeks ago, when this whole player power thing came in, obviously that's not really, I don't think it's a factor, Barcelona, but they are stubborn, some of them. I tell you, they don't like to take criticism. They don't like to handle their business on the pitch. They're just strolling around against Girona like there's no man's business or something. I don't know what's going on. What is it? Is it Hansi Flick's system or is it a bit of the players as well? Because it has to be both. It has to be both.
I'll just say this, right? Obviously, the Girona game, the Atletico Madrid game. First of all, I want to say this. I can't believe that was the Dave. I can't believe that the Girona game was the bounce back game, the bounce back performance that we got after a 4-0 beating at the Wanda. Like, I was thinking that the Girona game for sure will win. Like, the players, will have some shame and we'll win the Girona game. And they played awful. It was the same desire. Like you spoke about it. Is it the players? Is it Hansi Flick? Who's the issue? The truth is both, bro. Hansi Flick, number one, he doesn't adjust. He does not care what the situation is. UCL final, we saw with Bayern, and it worked for him then. He's playing a high line. We saw against Girona, that second half was hard to watch. If I'm being honest, bro, I almost broke my mic watching that game. Bro, legitimately, the second half of the Girona game, the amount of times that they're in behind, the lack of intensity, the lack of pressing, right? The players are in this too, because for whatever reason, the midfielders and the attackers, they're not pressing. Like, I just don't know what it is. I don't know if they're trying to rebel against Flick. I really don't know. But you could tell that they're not on the same page. And Flick, the thing with Flick is that, first of all, I'm going to say this right now. The players have to, first of all, be accountable and listen to Flick, because I know Flick is not adjusting. Let's be honest, bro. Flick is going to die on his sword, right? Flick is going to play the high line until the wheels fall off. If he gets sacked, if he leaves, whatever happens in the summer, right? These players, though, you also have to hold them accountable. Flick, I already gave him his criticism. This guy, sometimes I feel like his in-game management is awful. I'm not going to lie to you. But the players also, man, like Frankie de Jong, these midfielders, they're not running back on defense. How are you going to stop a counterattack when it's 4v4s? So I think it's a mix of both, but also it's a wake-up call, and we have to get this sorted in the next couple games because, hey, if we drop points to Levante at home, which I don't think is going to happen, but you're just giving away the title at that point. So I think we have to bounce back. 3 wins in a row minimum.
Yeah, I definitely think that this Levante game is just literally do or die. I think obviously because Barcelona playing at home is not going to be the most difficult task to overcome. But it's good that you mentioned about the transition of the defense and how they're trying to track back. They're always, and Barca, but you mentioned this last podcast, is that like couldn't they just keep on backpedaling? I don't know what's going on. He's just he's always looking behind him. He's never looking directly in front of him. Do you know when a left back or right back, they're supposed to show the outside of the pitch to the oncoming attacker? What he's doing is he's literally just chasing backwards. That's what Koundé's doing. He's chasing backwards. And he has no idea what he's doing. And neither is Balde. I've got to be honest. Neither is Balde, yeah? Obviously, Kobasi scored the goal, but then he led to the mistake as well for the equalizer. So they're not mentally up there anyway in the first place.
But Dave,
yeah, go on.
I just want to quickly say this, right? My thing is with it, of course, we all see the defense that they're playing bad. And the defense, I always say it's easy to play on the defenders. We all see the defenders making mistakes, but there's a lot of mistakes ahead of them, bro. Like, it's the midfield not doing their job. This midfield, I'm telling you, the last 2 games, the midfield deserves all the smoke for me, bro. They're the reason why that the defense is looking so bad, man. Like, I was recording with Volume, and he showed me some pictures. That's not a midfield, man. It's like we're playing with 6 attackers. They're not doing their job defensively. The attackers are not doing their job too, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what? It just made me think of something right now as well. It's like, if the defense are not there, and if the midfield's not operating well, then Barcelona on a free-for-all in terms of the pitch. You don't even know where anything is coming from, to be honest. And that's the main issue. And I look at it and say, if you look at a player like Lamine Yamal, it seems like he's carrying a lot of the weight and a lot of the burden on his shoulders to deliver in each match. And if he doesn't deliver and Rafinha's not there, then Barcelona have the biggest problem on their hands, because who's going to deliver on the pitch if Lamine Yamal and Rafinha don't? And if Pedri's not there as well? Because you don't have anybody on the pitch. Yamal was getting locked off in that Girona game. So is it a carry job, Omar? If Lamine Yamal is there by himself, essentially, and Rafinha's not featuring, and he's trying to do everything himself, does it look like at the end of the day, like he's just basically carrying the team? Is there really a team dynamic? Because if Yamal is the main outlet and nobody else is there, what's going to happen to Barcelona in the match? I've got to be honest. I don't even know. I don't even know.
No. That's the question to be asked, because you're right. I think that in the last 2 games, we've seen a drop-off from Lamine. But since the beginning of the year, he's really been playing out of his skin, right? And it's coincided with us like winning the Super Cup, right? Going on that run before, obviously, it was shut down by Atletico Madrid, right? But you look at even in games like the Elche game where we won, right? The amount of opportunities that he was laying on a plate for Ferran Torres in that game, which he was just missing so easily, right? Lewandowski, yes, he's got the finishing, but then again, Lewandowski is almost 40. Like, you can't expect this guy to continue to play at the top level. No one expected this, right? And Rafinha, he's been dealing with injuries all season. So yes, I think that we put all of the weight of the club shoulders on this kid, right? He is the one that is the attacking outlet. When he doesn't play well, you see a change. It's no coincidence that the last 2 games that we didn't win coincided with him not performing well, right? It has to be said. And honestly, this really comes down to, I would say, sometimes with the recruitment. You understand what I mean, right? Because in the summer, right, we were trying to look for attackers, right? The options that we were looking at were Nico Williams, we were looking at Luis Diaz, and we were looking at Marcus.
Oops. And he was looking at Marcus Rashford. Omar's gone for a second. He will return, guys. Don't worry, he will return. But obviously, I think he's definitely addressing the. He's back. Don't worry, guys. It's live. Obviously, he's back. He's back.
I have no idea what happened. I didn't touch anything. That has been buffered in this whole.
Carry on, mate. Talking about, Marcus Rashford. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and when you look at those 3 options, right? Nico Williams was the long-term target, right? That was the dream signing that the club were trying to look at, right? Luis Diaz was, I guess he was a preferential signing for guys like Deco, right? But then again, Liverpool were asking for a lot of money. And then you had Rashford. Now, I was looking at it, I was like, well, here's the thing. There is other options that we could have looked at in the summer as well, right? You just mentioned that. I talked about him before. I've talked about, why is it that we didn't put Lookman in the option table, right? In the option table of considering him, right? And it's those kinds of players where you think, okay, well, they're not gonna, break. They're not going to always be amazing every game. But like you've seen how Lookman has kind of started his life at Atleti, right? He's clearly shown he brings something different. You understand what I mean, right? Something that could definitely help Yamal, especially this season. If we had signed him, and with the injuries that Rafinha has had, you have a player like Lookman who could be a threat on the other wing. You understand what I mean, right? Whereas Yamal, right, put less of the pressure on Yamal. Unfortunately, guys like Ferran and all these guys, they don't put enough pressure on the defense. So the defense always focus on Lamine.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Yeah, I believe it's a carrying job, but it's not just the attack. The midfield also needs to be talked about. Without Pedri, this team is genuinely different. And I've been saying this since last season. Everybody was giving credit to Rafinha. Everybody gave credit to Yamal, quite rightfully so, by the way. And Lewandowski for his incredible turnaround last season. But I didn't see enough people give credit to Pedri. I feel like I was one of the few people that was keep praising this kid, saying, for me, he is our best player. He is our player. He is our player of the season. Many people were looking at me like I was crazy. I was like, no, you guys understand. We've had Pedri all season. That is the main difference. Pedri was not injured once at any point last season, right? And is it a coincidence that we won a demonstrator, almost won the quadruple, right? I don't think it is. So yeah.
Yeah, Barca Volume actually put something in the chat. He says, "What are you doing with Rafinha, Omar?"
I think you mentioned if like you sign Diaz or somebody like that. Like, what do you do with the
yeah.
rest of the situation?
What do you do with Rafinha if you did sign
I don't
Diaz?
know
No,
what's
no,
with the
That's a good point.
Lookman chat like recently. I think Atletico make a decent sign that we just keep on mentioning it. Lookman for this team. If we had Lookman against Atletico or Girona, the result wouldn't have changed. It's a systematic problem. I think both Kubarsi and Eric Garcia have come out doing interviews in the past 24 hours talking about that they backed the flick system and they're not executing it because we know if they do execute it, how well we can be. So when one person's not doing their role, the whole thing, goes tits up. Like Yoon says, of course he can adjust to it, but there are managers that are quite stubborn, like Flick, Pep, Conte. I think other managers, like for example, like Tuchel and stuff like that, can maybe adapt. I think Fabregas talked about recently how he likes to adapt to his opponent as opposed to locking in and honing in on his own style. So stuff like that comes.
Tactic, yeah.
Yeah, so stuff like that comes into play, right? So the things for me is that we've seen this a lot with Barcelona this season alone. We've dropped off multiple times with the team not pressing, that we go on a great run. It's just, I feel like another blip. The problem is the blip has come at the worst time, and the score lines have been the absolute worst as well. We all know that on our A game, everyone presses well, does their roles correctly. We play good football. But when the midfield is so wide open, like you said, you just mentioned as well again, that when he saw a picture from Volume, it looked like we had 6 attackers, right? Because you have 2 8s and you have an 8 and 2 10s playing in a midfield 3. You have no 6 whatsoever, especially with Frankie playing more advanced position, and with Olmo there as coverage as well. There's going to be no one doing the defensive work rate. You don't have a tempo controller, which Olmo has been doing, quite well recently, but he's not as good as Pedri. That's why there's holes in the midfield, especially when they all don't press simultaneously as well. So these are the issues that stemmed more towards than a signing and the squad depth not being good enough. I think the squad depth in the midfield, the attack is a relatively decent quality. I think the defense is where the question mark comes in, but people mentioning, signings and names and stuff like that, where the reality is you're deep into a season, you have to deal with what you currently have. We do have, the depth in the left wing where people bring up Lookman. We do have, both our left wingers out, unfortunately, right? They both got injured at the same time. Rafinha's just come back. So you have to look at it from a broader perspective. I don't think, these kind of players make these changes. It's more of a players failing to execute the system more so than needing holes to fill in the team.
I mentioned this
go on.
Right?
Go on, Omar.
So it's funny because obviously I'm learning in this chat, right? Here's the thing. A lot of people are sitting there saying, right, well, if Lookman came in, he would have wanted to start. At the end of the day, the fact of the matter is this, and all of the Barca fans can agree, the club were looking at signing an attacker. I wouldn't have even tried to sign an attacker in the summer, but the club were looking at a signing. They were looking at either Nico Williams, or they were looking at Rashford, or they were looking at Diaz. The problem is, if we had signed Luis Diaz, he would have wanted to start too. Right?
Yeah.
So and that's the thing, because behind Nico Williams, he was the second primary target for the club, right? And if we signed them, then what do you do then? Because all the talk is that if Lookman came in, he would have wanted to start every game, and he would have won that.
But we signed Rashford, so what's the point you're trying to make?
No, because you know why? Because obviously, when I mentioned the Lookman point, a lot of people were telling me, but Lookman would want to start. I said, well, okay, cool. But then again, if we had signed Luis Diaz, he would have also wanted to start. And we know the club was trying to look at Luis Diaz, right? Nico Williams as well. He would have wanted to start too. So it's like this is the same problem you would have with any other player that you would sign. Like really, let's be honest, Rashford is probably the only one that you can look at and be like, well, you know what I mean? Maybe he might have not even minded because he would understand, okay, I'm kind of.
Well, I think every player in a professional sport wants to start, right? I think people sometimes when they're later down their career maybe accept their roles, but Casado's probably not happy being 6th choice midfielder, but he understands his role at the club. He of course wants to start week in, week out. I think this argument of Lookman, we've signed Rashford. Lock in on the rest of the season. This Lookman chat is going to do absolutely nothing. He's come in for 2-3 weeks. He had 2 stinkers. I don't even think he played well against us, but he got a goal. Congrats to him. He scored it against Club Brugge last night, but they still, held a draw. Like, what's the point of this discussion? I feel like maybe we decided Lookman, he would have broke his ankle, would have been out for the rest of the season. Who knows, right? Yeah. I think Lookman and Rashford, peak for peak, bar for bar, are on relatively the same level. I don't think it's like a Messi and a Paco Alcácer comparison what we're talking about here. Right? You're talking about Nico Williams, a Luis Diaz, and a Rashford. In the end, we've signed Rashford. He has 20 GA this season. I would love to see, and we'll love to know what Lookman's GA is this season as well. He can even throw in the AFCON as well. I think they're relatively decent numbers. So the reality is that we were, unfortunately hit it with the injuries where both our left side of forwards were injured, and we couldn't cope with that. That's the reality of the situation.
Yeah. Eunice, what do you want
Yeah,
to
I
say?
was gonna
Sorry, in
say
addition
just
to that,
to answer Dave's like initial question about Lamine, is he
is he
carrying the
carrying?
load?
Yeah.
I think he is, bro. Because like the thing is, like, and I understand we still need to criticize Yamal if he plays poorly, like the last 2 games. But the thing is, bro, I think that he has such big responsibility on his shoulders that if you can cut off Lamine, you have cut off like 70% of Barcelona. You know what I'm saying? We need more guys like Lamine and Pedri that they're not relying on anybody. They're just that guy. Lamine makes so many guys better. If you stop him, you stopped 5 guys. So I
Yeah.
do
True.
think Yamal, listen, yeah, you played bad. But if I'm defending Yamal, I would say, bro, he has to do the heavy lifting every single game, and he doesn't get a break. That's the truth.
That's absolutely the truth. Now, the last segment of this podcast before we end this short live stream. Obviously, we wanted to do this live, obviously, for today, so people can get their insight into the Levante match. Can Barcelona bounce back? Now, if I'm looking at it, just looking at it as a professional, Barcelona need to bounce back emphatically. It cannot be just a simple win here. It can't be no 1-0s, no 2-1 scrape by jobs. This needs to be an emphatic victory against Levante. I think it will be, but it all depends on the team status, everything going around, obviously, how the team's going to be lining up. What's Hansi Flick going to actually do? Is he going to go on the same route again, or is he going to adjust big time? Eunice, I'll start with you first. Can Barca bounce back against Levante, and what must change?
I think it's not even a can, Dave. It's something that we must do. Like
Yeah.
Barcelona, we're gonna be falling behind if we don't win this game. So I think that we gotta absolutely win this game, right? I think ideally if you can win like a 4-0, a 3-0, you know what I'm saying, a 4-1, 5-1, that's what we need for morale. But we just have to win this game, Dave. Hey, we can't drop points, Dave. Like I would love for us to start some good form. Levante or relegation fodder, right? It's a perfect team to get a bounce back victory. But Dave, like we have no other option. Like the other option is to draw or lose. And then now people are saying, is it a crisis for Barcelona? I don't think it's a crisis yet. I think it's a big wake-up call. If we drop points against Levante, it is a crisis because now you've basically thrown away the Copa del Rey, right? Now
Thrown away
you
La Liga.
lost. Yeah, you basically almost thrown away La Liga unless you go on a run of 5 or 6 games in a row now, maybe 7 or 8, right? So I think that this Levante game is like a sneaky, not even sneaky, it's a must-win game. Is not even a conversation. And I do think we're gonna win because Levante, they're just not good enough to make us pay, Dave. That's the truth of the matter.
Absolutely. They are the highest conceding team in La Liga. They have conceded 41 goals this season. So this is going to have to be a whitewash if I've ever seen one. Barca boy, your thoughts on Levante? Your thoughts on this match coming up?
I mean, you're facing the second worst team in the league. It should be easy 3 points. We do play first. We do play, I think, after Real Madrid as well. So we'll need to react to their game. They could draw points. They could win, and that'll all spend into the works into Sunday's game. Is back at home as well, so I'm expecting a quite comfortable win. I think Ete Young as well has been benched due to recent transfer activity because apparently Levante want to sell him to CSK Moscow, but he doesn't want to, so they kind of benched him, so he's not playing. So there's an advantage when to take care of there. The team's had a nice little week off rest as well, 2 days off of training the past 2 days. So I do expect nothing but 3 points, and like Eunice said, an emphatic win would also be a nice cherry on top.
Absolutely. Omar, final point on Levante. Yeah. Can Barcelona bounce back?
We must. There's no excuse. At home, in our home stadium against the worst defensive team in the entire league, there's no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse, especially considering also, you got Rafinha back, we have Yamal back, right? Yamal is also in the team, but also Pedri is returning, but he won't be starting in this game, right? We have players returning in this game, right? We have to go completely strong, very, very strong, right? And make sure that we get the victory, but also the kind of victory where the performance comes with it. I want these guys to react. I want to see anger. I want to see rage, right? Because you've lost 2 back-to-back games, right? Currently, the fans are not happy with you. You will need a bounce back of epic proportions in this game, right? So, and then for me, it is the perfect game, really, for bounce back, right? You couldn't ask really for a better opponent, right? Especially if it's at home. So, yeah, there's no excuses at all. We have to win.
Absolutely, I do agree with that in terms of just looking at Barcelona and where they're going for. They have to win to even keep up with Real Madrid, because Real Madrid look like in a very, very good form at the moment. And this could obviously be evident for the remainder of the season. And look, just final thing, what's your predictions? And we'll just get into a few comments before we sign out. Barca boy, first of all, Levante versus Barcelona. What's your prediction?
I'll go with a nice 3-0. I'm expecting a clean sheet. We haven't cut the clean sheet in God knows how long. So I'll go with the nice 3-0 win.
3-0 win. Younes, Barcelona versus Levante. What's your thoughts?
I think it's going to be 3. I'm going to say 3-0 also. I think we have to win 3-0, yeah.
Okay, perfect. And Omar, what's your thoughts on Levante? Last prediction.
I'm going 4. I think we're going to win
4-0.
4-0. Yeah, I expect it. Yeah. Honestly, I see it, man. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like this. I feel like the players. I feel like the players. We're gonna see something different against Levante, a different team.
If it's 0-0 at halftime, bro, that would be mad.
Yeah.
I can't even lie.
I'm actually going to be more reserved. I'm just going to say 2-0 to Barcelona. I don't think he'll be too emphatic. I think he'll be comfortable, but I don't think he'll be too emphatic from Barcelona. I think Barcelona will try and just get over. I think the whole results as of recent has just thrown them off the rhythm. They need to find their rhythm first before they start building momentum. So I'm going to go for 2-0 for Barcelona, but I don't see Levante scoring at all. But what do you think, guys, in the chat? Let me just get through comments before we sign off. Apurva says, win Barca boy, you need to focus on the team. No point in thinking about players we didn't sign. Absolutely. From a Barcelona standpoint. DJ Rajiog says, we need Gavi back to help us and bring in a centre-back and on a profile like Pedri so we don't rely on him, although it's hard with our money issues, and Pedri is one-on-one of a blessing and a curse as well. Obviously, being out is sometimes, but look, Pedri is just is probably the most glued player for Barcelona's whole team. He needs to be in there to be the glue. That midfield relies on Pedri. And yeah, I think Jackson says Rafinha should be the number 9 because he does lead and press. Also, I think Rafinha does feed better on the left. I don't think he should be the number 9 or false 9. I don't think. I think Lamine Yamal probably has a better chance of doing that because of his natural technique. But yeah, it's crazy. But guys, thank you very much for joining. Obviously, the live chat. If you are obviously joining us in this very, very short live stream, what we're going to be doing now is redirecting to Younes Barca Reacts for his show with Football Matrix. That's going to be interesting, Younes.
Bro,
yeah, that's going to be very interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Go at it. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be fighting fire with fire. Well, you already know.
Absolutely. But guys, anyway, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be probably doing this a bit much longer next time. Obviously, Thursday is a very, very hectic day for content. Make sure you check out everyone on the panel. Omar Talks Football. He has a show, obviously, with Will coming up. Barca Boy, make sure you check out all his content. And also, Barca React's going to do a show right now with Football Matrix. So, guys, if you join us, obviously, for the third Barca Quad Pod, we're going to be signing out. All I can say is, a la Madrid, people. I'm joking, mate. I'm not going to do that right now, mate. It's the Dave Talks Barca show, people. I done all the a la Madrid stuff on my own, guys. Yeah, you want to sign this off, guys? You want to say those famous words, guys?
Come on now.
There we go. Yeah, there we go, mate. Take care, guys. Adios, people.